So it seems like over the past few months, we've covered a bunch of stories of the media preemptively cucking themselves to Trump, basically trying to stay on his good side. So there's, no official consequences, right? He has many tools at his disposal that he can use to go after these companies, these media companies. So they're trying to avoid that. So they're like softening a bunch of the criticism and really humiliating themselves over and over again. We saw this with the LA Times in the past. They refused to run an article that criticized RFK. They refused to run an article that criticized other members of the cabinet that Trump picked. We saw that. We also saw, remember, somebody withheld an endorsement. Was it that the Washington Post or was it the LA Times? Somebody withheld an endorsement, even though all the writers said we want to do an endorsement. The owner stepped in and said, no, you don't. No, you're not doing that. Right? Like, this is what we're witnessing. Go read just how much they soften everything when they discuss Trump, right? You would think that the whole, I'm going to send 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, that'd be a hair on fire moment where everybody's like, holy shit, this is George W. Bush on steroids. This is illegal, unconstitutional, incredibly authoritarian, war on due process. You would think, nope, everything's soft in the language. Act like, hey, yeah, this is what they're doing. It's just a matter of opinion, right? It reminds me of all the stuff around Israel where if an Israeli civilian gets killed, they go, but brutal, terrorism, horrific, all this emotive language. If a Palestinian civilian gets killed, it's a blast, had negative effects. They just soften it completely to try to seep it of its content, right? Well, LA Times has been one of the biggest offenders on this front. So look at this. This guy, Dr. Pat Soon-Chong, he is the executive chairman of the Los Angeles Times. This guy's like the new owner, right? And he was one of the ones who was embroiled in a scandal recently where he held back criticism of Trump on purpose, right? So he tweets the following. It's an article here. Opinion, Trump's healthcare disruption could pay off if he pushes real reform. That's the title. That's the title, right? Opinion, Trump's healthcare disruption could pay off if he pushes real reform. So this guy tweets that, and he says, RFK Jr., he is our best chance of doing so. So he tweets this out, and obviously the interpretation when you read is, oh, this is a pro-RFK article, right? Ready for this? You can already see the community note underneath, but this guy, Eric Reinhart, look what he says. I am the author of this op-ed, which was given a misleading title, and from key lines which were cut, lines that made very clear that RFK Jr. is dangerously ignorant, has absolutely no business near Health and Human Services, and is effectively a mass murderer in waiting. So dude writes a critical article of RFK. It gets a bunch of the critical parts get taken out. They change the title to something that's positive about RFK. And the author's like, bro, what the fuck? He says, I'm the author of this op-ed, which was given a misleading title and from which key lines were cut. Lines that were made very clear that RFK Jr. is dangerously ignorant, has absolutely no business near HHS, and is effectively a mass murderer in waiting. And they added the community note. The author of this article says that the LA Times edited out his clear opposition to RFK Jr. without his consent and gave it a headline which directly contradicts the point he was trying to make. Guys, we have entered comic book villain territory now. Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, after calling Trump Hitler and calling him a fascist, meeting with him for lunch at Mar-a-Lago. Right? The Washington Post, the LA Times, all these outlets that previously, during the first term, were like, yeah, we're going to do some semblance of resistance because if you tell the truth, you're going to resist because what they're doing is crazy, right? Now you get an even more insane Trump administration that cares even less about rule of law or doing good for the American people. And you got all these little fucking collaborators who are running cover for the Trump administration. Bro, just go buy a right-wing outlet. Just go buy a right-wing outlet. And let's be clear, it's not like Washington Post and LA Times. It's not like they truly were the leaders of the resistance. I mean, these people represent like centrist liberalism. But even to reasonable centrist liberals, you're going to be appalled and shocked at how horrible the Trump administration is. But they're trying to water down the centrist liberalism. They're trying to be collaborators. They're trying to be complicit. I'm telling you, the reality of the situation is they do not want Trump to retaliate against them. They are scared. They are caving to the authoritarian preemptively. This person doesn't want to get audited. This person doesn't want to lose whatever fucking government contracts they have. Like, this is what this all comes down to. They want to be invited to Mar-a-Lago. They want to be in the cool kids club. They want to get the subsidies. They want to get the tax cuts. They want to get the deregulation. Everybody is preemptively caving. And again, the saddest thing, it's one thing, the authoritarian dictator is going to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do. Trump is going to do what he's going to do. It's always been that way, right? But what nobody could have predicted is the willingness of these institutions that are supposed to be there to tell the truth and resist, those institutions to bend the knee, those institutions to go along to get along, because that's what we're witnessing, right? And you wonder why all these outlets are losing subscribers. People are pissed at them. There's a new scandal every other day. And you wonder why places like this, I'm a fucking asshole YouTuber, outlets like mine are blowing up. Gee, I wonder. Is because at least these people know I'm not complicit. I'm not bought. I'm not going along to get along. I have no interest in being part of the cool kids club. But this guy does. Dr. Pat Soon-Shiong does. And we've already covered way too many examples of this exact thing, whether it be Washington Post or LA Times, CNN now going all in on the both sides shit, right? This is not the time to soften the criticism, and it's definitely not the time to take the drug of false equivalence, right? Like, oh, just call everything equal. There's a bad thing about Democrats, some bad things about Republicans, some good things about Democrats, some good things about Republicans. Fuck you. If that's your takeaway in the year of our Lord 2025, your head has been planted firmly up your ass for decades now. Because there ain't no denying it anymore. Certainly since Trump got in the second time, just shut the fuck up if that's your take. You have nothing to add to the discourse. That's a dumb guy's idea of a smart person commentary. Well, actually, everything's equal and both parties are exactly the same on everything. Oh, fucking thank you. Brilliant. Brilliant. Did you read one article in the past decade that led you to come to that conclusion? Jesus fucking Christ. Look at a situation like we're currently in where the world's richest man seized the fucking treasury and they're doing a mass purge of the government and they shut off, they froze the Medicaid portals, healthcare for 72 million people, shut off Head Start, shut off Meals on Wheels temporarily. You got all that shit going on. You got warmongering with Panama and Greenland and Denmark and Mexico. You got all this going on. Do not give me this bullshit. But literally the best you're going to get from these mainstream institutions in today's day and age is the both sides shit. When is the last time that hasn't been relevant for a while now, and it will never be relevant ever again because it's just so patently absurd and untrue. But this is what they got for you. This is what they got for you. So, shout out to Eric Reinhardt who came out and called out this bullshit. I'm happy he did. He might not get to write for them again. But he did the right thing, right? And this shameful fucking mega rich asshole, Dr. Pat Soon-Shiong, you're the problem, bro. Look, if you want to be like One American News, if you want to be like Newsmax, go buy one of those. Go buy one of those. Don't destroy whatever semblance of media there was that even bothered to disagree on anything with the Trump administration. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.